Well, Jude, thank you very much for coming. I've been trying to get you on for a while, and we've been talking about podcasting for quite a while, the whole year since the pandemic started, right?
Yeah, I think I think there's a stat out the other day actually that I browsed past with the amount of podcasts in the last year that's actually been launched and how many they've got at the moment. It's like millions upon millions, but it's I think just podcast is a good way of kind of opening up conversations and to have people's kind of like views. I think it's more of a probably a positive way of people getting across their views and opinions, and their views and opinions also being kind of also challenged when it's an open discussion as well. So, you know, people get to hear both sides of the story rather than just kind of like currently what we've got is just, you know, when you read things that have been, you know, published on the internet and via social media and stuff like that, it's always one-way traffic, and we can't take our news sources from or our opinion base from those sources anymore, because they've become, you know, it's obvious they've become way more untrustworthy than they were ever in the beginning. Yeah,
that's right. And I read I think a post on Twitter. This woman, she posted something saying, when women have problems, they talk. When men have problems, they start podcasts. For therapy. I don't know.
I gotta be careful what I say. You know what I mean?
I've seen your Instagram account, man. But yeah, it's kind of like, but it is, you're right. It's the really good thing about podcasting actually is it's a long form conversation. So you've got time to kind of discuss and sometimes it's not the traditional route, right? You kind of have a plan of what you want to talk about, and then you get these little nuggets as you branch off, you know? So
yeah, and I think it's and I think it was you I mentioned it to before. I think last year when, but you know, that quote isn't far from the truth.
Yeah.
In that, you know, it's a form. It's almost like for men, it's almost a form of therapy.
Yeah,
you know, because we aren't given I wouldn't say given the right, but we don't have or feel comfortable enough to kind of like openly speak about certain subjects and about certain things without kind of like some sort of recourse.
From men, actually. From us as well.
Yeah, from men as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's it's a good thing. It's one of my favorite kind of like mediums, you know, above and beyond quite a lot of stuff that's out there at the moment.
Yeah, wicked, man. And you started something, I think was early on in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and pronounce it properly.
Jiu-jitsu sans frontières. Sans frontières. Sans frontières podcast. Yeah, it was Beyond Borders. It started with me and Viking, you know. He was in Hong Kong. He was in Italy at the time. And it was actually about doing a podcast about various subjects and about, you know, doing it over Zoom and stuff like that. But it didn't, you know, the time difference didn't depend, you know, it wasn't reliant on that and stuff like that. And
also it was peak pandemic, isn't it? It was like...
It's peak pandemic, man. Yeah. It's peak pandemic and it's, you know, peak stress time. But it was good. It was good to kind of like, you know, for us and even the guests to you know, get something that, you know, be able to kind of get things off their chest and to, you know, do something different and get their teeth into something different, you know what I mean, than their normal routine, which is just being locked up and thinking about, you know, what menus they can cook for dinner for their families and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it was good, and yeah, we're definitely gonna do a series 2 and revive that because
I look forward to it.
Yeah, we had some good talks, some good guests, and some good subjects, man. Good subject matters that were in there.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. I wanted to kind of ask you, like, how does it feel not to strangle someone for a whole year? Or there and abouts, innit? Like on and off.
It's been strange. It's been a thing, you know. I've done jiu-jitsu since I was in my teens. I've done martial arts since I was in my teens, and I think one of the things that I always keep pushing on about, which affects, you know, and the reason why I'm very kind of advocate about, you know, I'm a big advocate about like men's mental health and stuff like that, is there isn't enough support for us as men out there. We're not encouraged to, you know, talk about or seek help and stuff like that. Is that, you know, it's routine. It's about our routine. And as much as, you know, it's quite, the irony of this whole year has been, you know, in years past, you know, it's been, you know, you got to get out your routine. You can't have this routine of like, you know, your 9 to 5 routine and this and blah, 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 blah. The irony of it is that's what makes you, is that discipline to, you know, get up in the morning, go for a run, come back home, have a shower, wake up the family, cook breakfast for your kids, you know what I mean? Take them to school, go back, kiss the wife, she goes to work, you go to work, you have your routine, you train jiu-jitsu in the afternoon, you go back to work. So that type of stuff. So and that's what's kind of kept people going and being creative and stuff like that, is the fact that, you know, they say the devil make work for idle hands. That's it. And you can see it currently, like, you know, because people don't have their routines and stuff like that, the amount of like, you know, sorry to go back to social media, but the amount of noise and stupidity and things that people would normally not even bother about or take part in their day, they're now like bothered about, my parking space is this, and, you know, just simple things like that. You know, there's a more heightened kind of sensitivity to these things. You know what I mean? You can use the word triggering if you want, but, you know, it's still, it's way up there now.
It's like a pressure cooker, isn't it?
It's like a pressure cooker. Because people need to go back to what they need, you know, what they need to do, and hopefully this thing kind of like comes to an end or subsides pretty soon, so that, you know, everybody can kind of get back to that routine. So
interesting. So I want to go back, because for me, your story is very interesting to me, and I want to start from the beginning.
The sliders are interesting to me.
You told me to put, by the way, he came in, he said, yo, put your shoes back on, man. What's this? So I forgot at the one, you know, like, I was like, you know what, let me put my shoes on. But you know what?
But that's the benefit of sliders. That's what they're supposed to be for, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I forgot I had these on.
So what is I know you're Grenadian, right?
My family's Grenadian. I was born in the UK. Yeah, my family's from Grenada. Yeah.
Full-blooded, yeah? Huh? Are you a burr like me? You know, Jude, he keeps sending me gifts of butter being sliced and stuff. And I regret telling him this as well, because in France, what they call, I guess, Algerians, or like, I don't know if it's just...
You told me the story.
I told you. I regret it now. I regret it. They call them beurre, which is butter. I don't know why they call them, but I'm guessing it's because we're soft or something. I don't know, man. So Jude keeps sending me gifts of, was it Kerry's Gold, the big slice. So then I sent him a couple of things today about, you know, Grenadian culture and stuff, and he goes, bro, I'm a bird just like you, man. But I mean, growing up, like, what was the one dish that you would eat, you know, traditional dish that you feel like that you enjoyed growing up?
Saltfish, oiled down. Grenadian food. I think, I love Caribbean food, man. Yeah. It's just insane. Roti, you know what I mean? You know, curry chicken roti. It's amazing. But the fact remains, it's bad for you, man.
Yeah. Not all of it, bro.
A lot of it,
because you guys eat a lot of grilled fish, and, you know, like
grilled fish with
with you know
what I mean, what do you drink? Sarsaparilla, sugar, you know. And the irony of it is that, man, it's wonderful, but, you know, the what's the word, the sources, where it's deeply rooted is within, you know, the cultures of the past and slavery and stuff. What, you know, what we're able to cook and what we're able to, and what we gain, and, you know.
Also, the work was hard as well, so you needed like high calorie
diets and stuff. You know, you can make loads of assumptions with regards to actually how it's different and blah blah blah. But the with regards to our workspace now and how we live our lives now, food's awesome still, though, man.
But you still haven't told me. Oiled down saltfish.
Oiled down, yeah.
So what is that? What's oiled down saltfish? How does that?
You have saltfish and bakes. Like, it's the saltfish and bakes. Okay, it's not one dish.
Saltfish and bakes.
Yeah.
What's that, bro? You gotta come on, bro.
Okay, saltfish is like,
I know what saltfish is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but what's bakes?
Oh, bakes is what do you call it? It's a bun that my gran used to make. So basically, like flour and stuff like that.
Oh,
and,
right.
You know, and
Okay.
you make this little.
They have it in America. They've got a similar thing. Was it? No. Sorry. Not cornbread, but it's the other.
Do you want to walk out?
No,
do you want to walk out this podcast
sorry,
right now?
man.
like seriously.
What I meant, like dumplings. Is it almost like dumplings?
Yeah, almost.
Almost like dumplings, but it's not. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Educate me, man.
Jamaicans have dumplings, what they call dumplings, but it's different from what Grenadians have. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that type of food. I don't have one particular dish. If I was to put it down to one thing, it'd be roti.
I love roti, man.
It'd be roti.
I've never had Grenadian roti. It's the same as Jamaican roti. And you must hate it because we're the same. You know, Algerians, we're always being compared to Moroccans, isn't it? So Grenadians are always being compared to Jamaicans. To be fair, we're the same, isn't it? It's fine. It's like we said before in I think in the previous podcast. It's just lines drawn in we're the same people, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like obviously there's that national pride and you know the dish that you kind of like we put up, like couscous. There's always this like which way is the best couscous? The Moroccan couscous, the Tunisian couscous, the Algerian couscous, whatever. It's all the same. And by the way, ethnically we're all the same people anyway. It's just colonialism put a line in between.
I'll go for Moroccan couscous.
But you grew up in Ladbroke Grove, right?
Well, I grew up in Fulham and I moved to Ladbroke Grove.
Yeah. Sorry about that, bro.
Grew up in Fulham. Hey, Fulham was great. You know, Fulham was really, really good, and I think.
Whereabouts in Fulham? Near Parsons Greenway.
Fulham Court. Yeah, Fulham Court. Yeah,
that's quite bougie, bro. But there's some.
Yeah, it's quite bougie now.
It's like here, innit? But it's like you take a wrong or right turn, and it's kind of you're in the hood a little bit.
I think one of the things actually we got, you know, is sometimes we always not the UK, but especially London, we always not London. Yeah. But the reality is that you know, in London you can have an estate that is right in the middle of wealthy area.
That's true.
So it means that the cultures mix. And you get exposed as a kid to loads of things that you will never get exposed to in other countries. You know, no disrespect to like places like Paris, but it's like a ring on the outside.
Yeah.
And those kids, they don't get to mix with the kids that shop down the Champs-Elysees. They just don't, because they're just like two different worlds. You know, but you know, you can live somewhere like, you know, Notting Hill. And you can, you know, mix with a kid from Kensal Road, you know?
Yeah.
And you go, their school would probably be bang straight in the middle, like in Holland Park.
Yeah.
Now, look at Holland Park school.
Which school did you go to?
I went John Loughborough, actually, up in North London.
Oh, okay. Where?
Yeah, North London.
John Loughborough? Why does that ring
John
a bell?
Loughborough.
Whereabouts in North London? Huh? Tottenham? Do you know what John Loughborough is? Yeah. Oh, because he's a Tottenham boy.
Oh, is he?
So you went from Fulham all the way to Tottenham to study?
Yeah.
Why?
My mum just didn't want me to get into like trouble and stuff like that.
So they sent you to Tottenham, bro?
No, it was what do you call it? It's because my mum's Adventist was church school and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, she sent me all the way up there. But the thing is, like, as again, it was a good thing in that, like, my cousins went there and stuff like that.
Right.
But it meant that, you know, I had to wake up really early.
Yeah.
Get ready, boom, and go to school. And then I had to come back. So like after school to be like basketball practice and stuff like that. Either do your homework at school. Yeah. And then you come back home. You know what I mean? I didn't get time to like hang out like with my mates and stuff like that after school. Not much. Not at all.
What was the school like?
It was okay. You know, it's like it being like, you know, in my teens and into adulthood and kind of reflecting on how it was like. Yeah, I've got my deep criticisms of it and how it could have been run better, and how as a community, I think as a black community, we could have done a lot more. So was it
a black run school?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we know someone that's went to that school as well, and they had similar experience because I think what's his name, Muawiyah, went to the same school. I think so. Yeah. So he said that it was good. Yeah. Because he didn't have that thing of, you know, that whole stigma of young black men and in school and how they, you know, he didn't have that stigma.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously there was other things that, like, he didn't get to mix with other cultures while he was there and stuff. And do you see what I'm saying? So he goes there. It was a trade-off, but he goes, I loved it because
Where did he grow up there?
Huh?
Where did he grow up there?
Oh, where did he grow up? I don't know, you know.
That's it. See, I grew up in Fulham, which is totally different.
Right.
I mean, so it's like...
So you went from school...
Yeah, to mix with loads of other cultures, all the time. You know what I mean? So it's and I think for a project, brilliant, and I think we need more projects like that. No. Just,
why, man?
I think they just went through like all
is it funding,
financial crap and whatever, and it was just badly run, etc. But it's now actually a school called Highland House,
right?
Which what do you call it? My brother's ex-wife is a teacher there and stuff like that. And
cool.
Ironically, and you know what I mean, my nephew's daughter goes there and stuff like that. So the exact same building is now another school, but it's like...
Was it a state? Was it like fee paying? Did you have to pay?
Yeah, fee. Yeah,
so fee paying schools as well. There's a balance in it. If you charge too little, you don't have enough resources. Charge too much, you kind of exclude.
I think it's I don't know. I think it's a bit. I think it's a bit more than that. I think when, you know, and I think sometimes decisions have to be made for the benefit of the kids that are there rather than the over.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The you know, the aspect of like whether it's religious or etc. And I think sometimes it's like they get, you know, schools like that get caught up in that.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that the people you're supposed to be helping, which are the kids, kind of get left in the wind and left in the dust and stuff like that. And I just think it was an opportunity to basically, you know, the first headmaster there is a man called Mr. Wolford, man. Just amazing. Like, what I mean is like, you know, just as a 10, 11-year-old kid going into that school, he, you know, it's like, it was inspiring, like literally inspiring. And, you know, we all leave school and we'd be going back home because a lot of us like lives all, you know, like South London, West London, you know, East London, whatever. So we all travel the same way, you know, go Seven Sisters train station on Tottenham Hale, and we all be like messing out and boom, 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 boom. You go to the train station, guess who's standing there?
My guy.
He's standing there, you know what I mean? He's standing there just like, boom, just waiting. And it's like, and you fix up. And then one thing he says, you don't just represent yourself, you represent the school, you represent your parents, and you represent everything about your culture. So make sure when you leave the premises that you know, act appropriate. And it just for my life, it stayed in my head, those learning patterns. And it's got, you know, it just had nothing to do with anything else, but just, you know, I think those are the conversations that young men need. And I think those are the conversations that, you know, young men are nowadays are getting, but because of the noise of everywhere else, they're not getting through, you know, and that's the difference that we got to, you know.
Do you feel that going to a school which had predominantly black kids in there, do you feel like, because sometimes when you're in a school which is multicultural, and the teachers are from everywhere, they don't understand you, and the advice they give sometimes is not tuned to your... Does that make sense? Like
100%.
Yeah. So you're kind of like, I remember even like, we talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, not having people like yourself represented, especially now it's a little bit different because obviously our generations, right? They've gone into teaching and all this type of stuff. But growing up, you're taught by, you know, predominantly white teachers, and they don't quite understand. It's not their fault. We don't blame them, but they just don't understand where you're coming from, right?
Of course.
And to give, to the advice they give doesn't necessarily, you know, how do you say, it doesn't hit home as much.
It doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. It's also very hard, you know, it's very hard for me to take advice about an armbar from a football player. Yeah. That's basically what it is.
Unless it's Ramos.
But it's true. And it's, you know, even though you actually respect that person or whatever, but those are the levels that you're talking about.
That's right.
But at the same time, I think it's it's probably a little bit harder now in that, like, I'll give you an example of my boy, right?
Yeah.
So, my missus is French and stuff like that. And how do you take a kid and teach him your ancestral culture? My missus teaches him her culture, her language, and then on top of that, he's got to understand and navigate the UK and everything like that, etc. So, he's, he does his normal school during the week, but on Saturday is French school.
Yeah.
But, apart from, we don't have that community structure anymore. So we have to put them into kind of classes and schools. So, if there's a Caribbean study class near me, I'd put him into. Yeah. But really and truly, our grandparents used to do that.
Yeah.
Our grandparents used to be those teachers, and we don't have that. We don't have that anymore. So then the time, the time that a normal child would like have is free. We're putting them in environments like structured class type environments to make them understand, to try to make them understand that. And it's very, very hard for them. And I think we probably underestimate how hard it is, because I knew when I was born and my mum sent me to Grenada with, my grandparents, man.
How old were you?
I think as soon as born, about 6 months or something like that.
She just handed you over, boom.
There you go. Get away, degage.
No. I saw that in the Reddit article, bro.
No, I was seriously young. And then
how long did you stay there?
And then I'll go. And then, so I'd be back and forth, with my grandparents. But it was when I was like, one of the things that stayed in my head, because when you're that young, you don't really have memories or all that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things that stayed in my head, and, it's quite funny, is that I remember, and I remember my aunties going back to me, so I know it was not like me just dreaming it, but it's like my grandfather would wake me up in the morning, like, boom, let's go. And I have my little wellies on, my t-shirt and my shorts, and take me down, and I got to go and feed the cow, I got to go and feed the donkey, you know what I mean? I got up in the mountains with him, like, cut cocoa and, stuff like that. And, I remember things like, because the house was, and I remember like, there was there was a snake. There was a snake in the back, and I remember my auntie going, shit out, and I ran out. I grabbed.
Was that your first grappling match? Was that your first grappling match?
I think my grandmother was holding my back.
Oh, okay.
And my granddad like, no. And he just nigga, stay with me. And I remember him taking the cutlass and like, kill the snake.
It doesn't play, man.
And I was there looking at the snake, just like, and it was still moving. And I'm like, it's just fascinating. Yeah. Really fascinated, Experiences like, I mean, one time's like, it's quite funny because, like, people might see this as barbaric now.
Yeah.
But you have to understand this is what life was like a lot of the time, and we've kind of sanitized a lot of that, and so we don't have these experiences. I remember, man, having this one chick, because we used to go out and used to collect the eggs from the chickens in the morning and stuff like that. And I remember having this one chicken. The funny thing is, I heard this story told by loads of my friends and stuff like that. The same kind of experience, you know what I mean? And I remember, it's coming out and there's like. There's one day, and there's like a string attached to his foot, and it was attached to the thing. Okay, just go.
Oh, so they were ready to butcher it, basically. Or is it dead?
Yeah, no, they butchered it. It's dinner, man.
So you came in and your brethren was killed. It's funny. I had the same. Like I was going through some pictures, and I saw a picture of me as a kid. In Algeria with a little lamb.
Yeah.
And I remember that, it triggers something, And I remember my granddad, it was my friend for a whole week.
Yeah.
And they just chopped it up and killed it and ate it and stuff. And I remember the feeling from it. And then I think at 14, 15 years old, my dad took me to the farm here in the UK.
Yeah.
And because when as a Muslim, when you're born, you have to slaughter a sheep and give out the meat to everyone and stuff, right? But my dad didn't do it for me. So he didn't. So he goes, let me do it. Like, you're 14, do it yourself.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you mean do it myself? He goes, he wanted me to. So I had to go in, find the sheep.
Yeah.
And then trip it up, do my first, what's the judo? Was it Hashi? Yeah, that's it. Hashimata. Yeah. My first knee on belly. And then I remember holding its mouth and then it fought a little bit and then it gave up. So that was 2 points. But it gave me a sense of respect for meat and how it's raised. And obviously the animal gave up its life for you to eat it.
Yeah.
So, so it's interesting how we kind of get separated from that sometimes.
You get separated, you get sanitized, and it's so the challenge now is, our children, how do we give them those experiences? So sticking them in a classroom to learn that, it's hard. It's extremely hard because they will never ever learn that. So it's becoming, your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, what's going to happen then? They'll be so far removed from that process, so far removed. Somebody who's gone through that experience and talks to me about the planet and the ecosystem and stuff like that, I have probably a little bit more respect for, because they understand that actually, we do live on a very finite kind of balance with regards to things, and just kind of having, respect for your food. Yeah. Respect for your food is very, very important.
100%.
Honestly, I very rarely do takeaways. Literally, very, very rarely. And you
cook a lot as well, don't you?
Cook all the time. I
was what's your black belt dish that you cook?
My current black belt dish since the pandemic has been my risottos. Yeah? Oh, mate.
Do you know what? I've never had risotto in my life.
Mate, I'll destroy
What is risotto? Is it rice with green sauce or something?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'll cook your risotto, mate.
It's got to be halal though, you remember that? It's got to be halal. Don't give me that vegetarian stuff. You got to find some halal meat. I know Caribbeans eat a lot of halal meat.
Yeah, because I
know the way it's slaughtered, because they respect that kind of.
But also I think it's a subconscious thing with regards to actually it's a culture thing. So certain cultures would be closer together because of A, adversity, and B, because of they have similar things,
Venn diagram of
similar traits. Right, so the Caribbean community, same. It's with the Muslim community, very kind of so man. It's get your meat from the source.
So, there's another thing as well. So going on to your kind of, your civilian career, yeah?
What's my civilian career?
So I'm interested, because I've always seen you as, you're at Bellator now and you're doing your stuff there and you've been teaching jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
But did you have any civilian jobs?
Loads.
Outside of fighting.
Right. So
that's what I'm talking about.
So my skill is creative director.
Okay, so
art director, graphic designer. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
It makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Why is that?
It just makes sense. That jumper makes sense now as well.
This jumper was a lot bigger. My missus threw it in the wash.
Has it shrunk?
And it shrunk. It's a nice little baggy jumper. It's honestly, it used to be about there. It's really nice. And threw it in the wash.
So, which companies? How did you start off in that, and then?
Okay. So
did you go college or uni or whatever it is?
Work-wise I left John Loughborough, and actually I worked for my cousin as first of all a waiter, then a commis chef.
Easy, bro.
Yeah. Brendan, God bless his soul, man. Amazing guy, absolutely amazing. But that was my first foray, my first job, and he just taught me.
What kind of cuisine was it?
Oh, it's just he just got me cooking breakfasts and stuff like that. Okay. And what to do, which knife means what, and etc. And just a fillet knife, and just had to do fish and stuff like that.
Was it in a hotel, restaurant?
No, it was this. It's a little small restaurant cafe place in Shepherd's Bush, and it was just, and then he was it's quite funny because he was he's my cousin, but he's more to our family's a brother. Like,
Right,
you got cut, and then you got person's just
Yeah.
that much more
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And like, so me and him was like, you know what I mean? I was like, blah, blah, blah. Teach you the bass, because man is a wicked bass guitarist, like amazing bass guitarist. You know what I mean? So my other cousin, his brother, Alan, Brendan kind of introduced him to bass guitar and stuff like that. And I was, oh man, I got to learn as well and stuff like that. So it was like, at that time, I had this kind of real kind of like yearning for knowledge. And
so how old were you? Like 18 or 17, 18, something like that?
Yeah, I think I was 17, 18. Yeah. It's been so long ago. And that's actually at the point that I took up martial arts as well.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to get to as well.
Yeah, it's the point where I took up martial arts as well. So I what did I do after that? So after that, I went and my eldest brother at the time was...
How many siblings you got? Is it you and your brother? That's it?
No, 2 brothers, 1 sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My older brother at the time was working for a company called, I think, Interlink. And and then he got me in there. He goes, blah, 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 you got to, do some work around. Did you want to do some work and stuff like that? And I go, yeah, cool. I was also DJing at the time as well. Man, done so much stuff.
So this is all in West London, yeah?
Yeah, still in West London. DJing at the time as well, and going out and stuff and blah blah blah. And I remember, used to work in warehouses, and then, but I was always like designing stuff, drawing stuff, and that, and then forklift driver, and kind of worked my way through and started driving from
forklift driver.
Yeah, mate, dude.
Every time he opens his mouth, it's a new job.
No. But it's all in the
Is there a reason why you did that? Is it because you're trying to look for? Were you financing something else, or is it kind of like
it was more money, and it allowed me more freedom.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? So and it's like
So that wasn't your passion wasn't to be a forklift. You're funding your passion. You're kind of doing other things.
I don't think it's funding my passion. I think it was just I was in search of something.
Right. Okay.
And that's what it was. It's like I think when people go, oh yeah, blah blah blah, I just funding my passion. It's like, nah, mate, you're just
taking every day as it comes.
Taking every day as it comes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's things that you like, but you haven't found the thing that actually makes you you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that process I think sometimes we push down that, you got to be this, you got to do that to kids and stuff like that, when actually it's kind of like, like when you're pushing something in a tube and it just pops out the other side, it's just what you're doing. Really they need to find that thing that actually they've never experienced. It's like the more things that you try is the more chance that you find something that you like. You know what I mean? But if you don't have those opportunities to try that stuff, then you never would know. So I didn't know whether my interest in graphic design and branding and stuff like that, where it would take me. I just knew I like things. I like things that look like that. And I like, the designs of stuff on packaging, and how I was interested in how things were packaged and made and stuff like that. Yeah. And that was just I just like that stuff. That's all I knew. I didn't have a formal kind of education as to how it worked and how it happened. But I knew I liked it, and I knew I read quite a bit and find out, who did what and stuff like that. So, yeah. I
was going to ask you, sorry to cut you up, but I was going to say, do you feel like sometimes, especially if you grew up in the inner city, you're told that you have to know, like, for example, there's this kind of mentality of, you need to, what are you going to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. So then you plan out and it's almost made, you're almost kind of made to choose very early on to fit in a I guess like what do you call it, like a jigsaw of what the government, not the government, what society went. So for example, if you want to be a postman, okay, that's you're a postman now. Yeah. Or remember back in the day you had these lifelong kind of work in the council that was peddled to us at school, innit? Like, it's a job for life and all that nonsense. And I was just saying to my kids the other day, is like we always don't think about jobs. That's not what you should be thinking about when you're 13 years old. You should be acquiring knowledge and learning about the world you live in. And then, like what you said, explore and find out what you want to do. Now, when we were going to school, I know for me, it's always like, oh, if you don't get your GCSEs, you're not going to get into college, and then you're not going to get, to get a good job. But then I was thinking to myself, what do those people that give people jobs, what do they say to them? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What are their teachers telling them? Are they telling them to, they're teaching them about, Shakespeare and going to the Globe or watching plays or doing experiments and the joy of learning, really. But for us, it's kind of like you have to find something so you can fit in a place in society where you're defined, innit? So it's kind of like what you said there. You kind of how did you get to that kind of mentality where you were like, you know what, was it your parents? Was it people around you? Was it kind of?
No, I think it was more chance by anything. And I think, just harking back to what you're saying there, I think a lot of the time when we're told by adults or that, job for life or find this or find that, I think it's also built out of fear as well. Okay, yeah. So, it's just with your kids, when they say, oh, I want to be postman or whatever, and you try to explain to them, actually, that's not how it works. Even then, a 13-year-old kid isn't even going to understand that. So us as parents is that how do we get that knowledge across to kids where they're able to take the knowledge, but not kind of be lazy, but be hardworking at the same time.
Yeah.
And I realized that it's a near enough impossible task because it's about links. 100%. Yeah. Life's about links. Nothing else. Like literally, life is about not what you know, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
And as soon as you bump into that person and they give you that knowledge, then you got that knowledge. It's not about, the knowledge itself. Yeah. It's about you networking.
Also being an open book, your glass is empty.
Oh yeah.
When you meet that person, you can't know everything.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So your glass has to be empty for you to take on that information.
Dan in a sentence said, don't underestimate anybody because they always know something that you don't know.
Exactly.
You have to live and die by that. 100%. Like literally live and die by that. So I realized that really early on, that the more people you know, the more opportunities you get. I didn't realize that early enough, and probably it's a good thing because I wouldn't be on this path now.
Yeah.
But I realized that, you make your, you make your way, or, because like, for instance, it's like if I was to listen to my mum's generation and my grandparents' generation, I would have never taken up martial arts. It would have been like, oh, it is the devil's thing, but me understanding what they're saying is that actually they were not experienced to that. So it's born out of fear. So it's the same thing. Like it's education is exactly the same. I see education the same way. Yeah. It's like, if you don't do that, this is going to happen, and
exactly that.
But we also, subconsciously, we also punish our kids in the same way. It's like, if you don't eat your dinner, this is going to happen. But we never say, we got to take out the word if and put in when. It's like, okay, when you eat your dinner, you're going to get to do this. And it absolutely changes the narrative, and it changes everything, So that and links and stuff like that and understand is really, really, really important.
What was your earliest martial arts memory?
My earliest martial arts memory?
It doesn't have to be a class, yeah?
It's Bruce Lee, man. That's the matter.
Bruce Lee, so, yeah.
That was a stupid
What
question.
was the first film? Okay, what was the first, sorry, bro. What was the first Bruce Lee film, first time you ever saw Bruce Lee on screen, or?
I don't know when the first time I ever saw Bruce Lee, but I remember
Is it Game of Death?
It was Game of Death, yeah.
So you watched Bruce Lee. Well, how old were you? You're just going to give up your age, man.
No, but I seriously don't know. I seriously don't know.
I seriously don't know. Pre-teens?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably pre-teens. And then what happened after you saw Bruce Lee? And then...
Saw Bruce Lee, blah, blah, blah. I can't even remember how I got... So my first... Oh, sorry. I used to have a really good mate by Junior Smith and stuff like that. He got me into like Wing Chun and stuff.
I knew you were going to say Wing Chun.
Yeah. He got me to Wing Chun and stuff. And
how long did you do that for?
Lord knows. Just on and off for a bit. And then I did...
So you wore the black silk thing with the sash and everything?
Not at that time.
Okay.
Not at that time. So like... And he used to train. He did some training with Derek Jones, who was in Shepherd's Bush, and another person, man. He died too young. I think he died 93, age of 31 or something like that.
Wow, what happened?
I think it was a bike accident or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but he was one of those individuals also who's just like very open-minded about martial arts and stuff like that, even though he did Wing Chun, you know what I mean? Because at the time, Wing Chun practitioners, the thing wasn't open to doing other martial arts and blah, 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 blah.
Because now you're becoming street certified now, yeah?
Street certified. My experience of Wing Chun took two paths. Okay, the first path was me with my, this guy, Junior. He will be forever, like the person that lit that fight. Yeah. Because again, I was just telling you earlier about my thirst for knowledge. So I was lapping up everything, and but so at that time we all trained together and stuff like that, and find out about my other martial arts and blah blah blah. I used to go, unbeknownst to anybody else, and go into like old bookshops and just go and pick up every single martial art book that I knew, from judo, hapkido. What's the other one? There's another Korean one, a make-uppy one of the staff. Traditional jiu-jitsu. You name it. Wing Chun they didn't have many Wing Chun books in the old bookshops, so you had to go to what's it called in Chinatown. Oh, I forgot the place it's called now.
Is it still there?
I don't know actually.
Interesting.
I don't know.
What's funny? Every person I've asked this question, it goes back to a bookshop.
Yeah, but if I said to you, yes, I went on Google.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's interesting.
You'd be like, you liar.
Or like a martial arts shop, or there's that one guy that's put you onto it. Or...
No. It's always that trigger. So I used to collect like loads of books and stuff like that, and then bring them back home and just like read and go through them and discover new stuff. And I remember getting that Bruce Lee's book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, and stuff like that, and and all this whole series of stuff, and so it's just books. And then I don't know how. Actually, I think I just researched it, because I think I got a book on Thai boxing, and I rang up a gym called Cobra Gym in Victoria.
I like it already, bro.
Yeah. Dung. And it was Tim Isley and Vince Jauncey down there, and that's when I started to do they did kickboxing down there.
So not Muay Thai, it was more kickboxing.
Yeah, more kickboxing and stuff like that.
So you're DJing, driving a forklift, and doing kickboxing.
Yeah, and Wing Chun. So then I was doing that on and off and stuff like that. And then I went and found another guy who used to teach Wing Chun up in Euston. So I think I had that balance that and this is the kind of like the second phase of the whole Wing Chun experience. Yeah. In that then I was at a phase of questioning stuff and searching for stuff and questioning stuff, and doing kickboxing at the same time sporadically, and realizing that, these guys don't like getting punched in the face. Getting punched in the face really hurts. I don't think getting punched in the face and defending getting punched in the face like that is as good as that getting punched in the face. And and then we did sparring in Wing Chun, and I will do some.
Yeah, what's sparring like in Wing Chun?
It was kind of there, in this particular club, I wouldn't, other clubs might do it different. I don't know, because I haven't been there. This particular club, it was like, if everybody's doing the same thing, if everybody's doing capoeira, if everyone's doing judo, everyone's doing it, then, you are going to in some way subconsciously fall into that category of stuff and be very predictable in what you're doing. It's just human nature. Yeah. If you're speaking to somebody on the same subject and you guys grew up in the same hood and you guys, studied the same way and blah, 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 blah. If I had an opinion of something 9 times out of 10, you'll have the same opinion too.
Yeah.
If I grew up somewhere different, then we're having a discussion or an argument.
Yeah.
Simple as. And I think martial arts is exactly the same way. So if 2 Wing Chun people are sparring in a way against each other, then it's less of a spar and more of a dance. And the thing that happened was that we were sparring and I just low kicked the guy. And I was like, whoopla! And he's like, you can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. And I went,
it's a fight, bro.
No, but it wasn't even that. It was that.
Was it?
I wanted to see what was going to happen.
Oh, so you done it on purpose? That's bad man, Jude.
But, I wanted to see what was happening because, like, he's bigger than me and stuff like that, pushing me back and blah, blah, blah. Okay. If I step, let's boom, push his shoulder and go, boom, low kick him. Let's see what happens. And he was like, he wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready. But he's like, and so he's like, oh, you can't do that. Okay, but this is how we're gonna let's problem solve then.
Yeah.
Okay, if this happens, then how are we gonna problem solve? And I think it reached that point where that it just wasn't. It wasn't. What do you call it? It just
disillusionment.
They couldn't problem solve enough, and it wasn't the fact that. It wasn't the fact that they weren't good enough to problem solve, was the fact that they didn't put themselves in a position to enable them to problem solve.
Yeah.
If they were
open-minded enough to...
Yeah.
So Wing Chun...
I don't say open-minded enough. I'd say they didn't have the experience to enable that mechanism, that problem-solving mechanism to take root.
Also, a lot of the instructors, the coaches or the professors, whatever you want to call them, they didn't want you to train somewhere else. If they find out, they're like, it's almost like you've backstabbed. They're how dare you get out of my gym?
But in anything, so like not even go to another Wing Chun club or a Jiu-jitsu or judo or stuff like that. You know what I mean? They just didn't. They didn't want that at all. So then I met another guy who was teaching in traditional jiu-jitsu.
With the robes?
Huh?
Was it with the robes? You know those long...
That's Aikido.
Oh, no. So what do they wear in traditional jiu-jitsu? Just standard kimono?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I really wanted to do it. I remember there was one in Stoke Newton. I walked in, they were wearing those robes. I was like, nah, bruv. I can't be wearing those robes, man. They look impractical to me. Like, I was like, if someone grabs it...
Oh, no, don't you wear robes too?
Yeah, but you're not fighting them. You have to tuck them in, bruv.
Yeah, but if a man come up to you, you're wearing your robe.
Yeah, I'll be like, wait, let me just tuck it in, bruv. Or like Bengalis, how you guys do.
There you go. There you go.
That's the one.
There you go.
Yeah, but look, he's wearing a robe, bruv.
So that's
ceremonial, isn't it?
Robert Clark.
Okay.
I think he's dead now, man. Yeah.
No way.
So here they go. So they're, what do you call it? Their headquarters.
Would you call it grappling, bro?
Huh?
Is it a grappling? Is it more like...
Listen, the one thing, and a lot of people are probably going to just stone me for this, but traditional jiu-jitsu okay, do a better job of self-defense than Brazilian jiu-jitsu does.
Okay, interesting.
By miles. And I know a lot of people slag off, the Gracie Academy for what they're doing. I think they're doing good. They're innovating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are thinking, like, really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And really innovating it. And, and I think more people should be doing what they're doing as a separate,
an art, like a separate kind of...
Yeah, as a separate program.
Yeah.
But I think more people should be doing what they're doing because there is the place for it.
So what's the difference between traditional jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Brazilian jiu-jitsu is, roots comes from Kodokan judo. So it's more judo based.
Yeah.
It literally is. Where the traditional jiu-jitsu that we got like in Europe and in the UK and stuff like that comes from more of, weapons based, form based, stuff like that.
They train at police academies in Japan, right? Jiu-jitsu. I know they used to that in Shotokan Karate. That was their. I think judo as well was one.
So it's, and I think for me it was a good learning thing. It's like really I learned a lot about how to teach, what do you call it? Structure, a proper structure.
Yeah.
Because doing Wing Chun and doing kickboxing, there isn't that syllabus type of structure. And how, one thing has a direct correlation to another, all depending on how you learn it. If you learn an armbar badly or in a certain specific way, you can't really do a normal off your back.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's simple. I'm sort of bringing it back to jiu-jitsu terms, where you can't do a triangle properly because the initial setup doesn't allow you to do that. Right. So it's things like that I learned very earlier on with it, which I kind of...
Do they have triangles and arm bars in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So there's ground fighting and then there's an element of...
Yeah, it's kind of like...
hand-to-hand kind of stuff.
When I did it, I didn't have the thing to compare it to as such.
Oh, I see. Because you went straight from striking to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And I think then I went to the Budokai and was doing judo on and off as well. So it was all kind of
at the same time.
All kind of coming together. Go ahead, do this. Go ahead, do that. I was doing what do you call it? That was when I was about 23, 24. I started doing like stick fighting and stuff like that as well.
But what were you getting attacked regularly on the street or something? Well, what's going on? Were you going to like underground fight clubs? Or?
No, man. Every single time I had to go to a party in East London, I had to make sure, in Hackney around your age, I had to make sure that
people
I was
are tooled up, man.
That's right. See, there you go. I was like, give me your weapon.
Exactly.
There you go. Nah.
Did you ever study nunchucks and stuff like that? Did you ever go?
See, this is where
did you register? Did you go register your hands?
Stupid questions. You're running a podcast. You can't ask stupid questions. You know what I mean? Who's your influence? Bruce Lee, obviously. Did he have a pair of nunchucks? Duh.
Did you start? By the way, yeah. Because I used to mess around with nunchucks, yeah.
Of course, everyone does this.
Did you get the foam ones first and then go to the oak ones?
No,
you went straight to the oak.
Yeah, straight to the oak.
Yeah.
Did you used to make yours out of broomstick as well?
Yeah, broomstick. Yeah. And they always come off as well.
They always come off. Used to like go to, I can't remember the DIY place and used to have the little hook.
Yeah, that's the one. Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone with the nunchucks. Yeah, of course.
I got smashed up, man, so many times. And you know when you do this?
Yeah.
Here, and you have to hold it like that, right, Mama? And then that was the first thing. You hold it, and then you kind of go like that, and then like that, and then like that.
I wonder if anybody's actually sued the Bruce Lee estate for damages. Of being
getting hit in the face, and that noise it makes.
Yeah.
So I cut you up, man. So you judo, Budokai, and then you were learning jiu-jitsu at the same time.
Traditional jiu-jitsu,
and then you're doing kickboxing. And did you give up Wing Chun, or you thought, you know what, let me just...
Yeah, that's the point in time. I thought, because it was like, just doing stick fighting and stuff like that, and the screaming and stuff, which was great. So
it's mad. You were being prepared for MMA, right? This was like, what was happening in MMA at the time when you were studying all this stuff?
It was we heard the rumblings of BJJ, like literally always.
So it was UFC 1.
During the magazines, that was UFC 193. Yeah. So, you have to remember back then, it's like, back in the old days.
Yeah.
So when our first looks at UFC was on the VHS tape.
Yeah.
That's it, before DVDs.
And it would take time to get to us as well.
Oh, it took time, man. It took time.
Unless you got a friend that came from, and then you have to get the different video. Remember the different, because American videos won't play in the UK ones, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you had to go find a friend.
Pow,
exactly. Or buy it from Argos or something.
Yeah. So this is actually, and so this is where so you remember Amir's father when I gave him
yes.
So you have to understand, this is where it all links in. When I was training traditional jiu-jitsu and stuff like that in Kensington Sports Centre.
Oh, that's when
I met the wrestling lot.
Okay, pause there for a sec, Jude, yeah? Because if you listen to Amir's podcast, Amir's one, this is where they've crossed. So you were there at the same time Amir was there, I guess.
Yeah, so we used to do jiu-jitsu.
That's nuts, man.
We used to do jiu-jitsu before they did wrestling.
Right.
Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. No, they used to do wrestling before.
So you would have passed Did you meet Emma at the time?
I didn't. Well, no, because I always say hello to those guys. Always, yeah. Always. I'll call
Interesting, man. And who's teaching jiu-jitsu there? Is it Mauricio?
No. This isn't Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's
traditional
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
Lloyd used to teach. Yeah. This
is pre-jiu-jitsu. This is pre-BJJ, Jude.
Pre-BJJ, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're looking at 20-something years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So did you remember his dad? What it was like?
I remember the faces. I don't remember him distinctively, but I remember who was senior and who was not.
Right.
And so, that was, That's
so just for you guys to understand as well, that Jude awarded Amir's father a blue belt.
It should have been black belt.
It should have been.
I'm seriously. It's like,
it was
wow.
But even for his dad to train jiu-jitsu, starting how he was about when late 70, he's 75, I think 74 at the moment, and he started training with us like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So like he's loved it because obviously he's getting on in age
and he can do jiu-jitsu
and he just loved it.
Good.
And
good.
What cracks me up about him is he's only tiny, and what he'll do, pick up one of the kids in it, like, you come over here. How do you do this, too? All right, so you're at Budokoi doing jiu-jitsu.
Yes, I'm at the Kensal Sports Centre doing traditional jiu-jitsu. Doing a little bit of screaming there, and then I met Pat O'Malley. Yeah, who used to do I forgot his organisation was called. Rapid RNS. And
what's that? Is that martial art?
Yeah, no, it's stick fighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I remember
I find that really cool, man. Stick fighting. It's so one stick or
to this day. To this day, we did did the European Championships with them in Ballymena in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
To this day, it is the most gas intensive thing I've ever done. Ever done.
So what does a stick fighting tournament look like, man?
It just looks like so basically.
Was it like a curved thing? No. Kickboxer?
So you got.
I mean the kickboxer.
Oh no, mate! It's just mats, just mats, and you've got I can't remember the size of them. About that big sticks.
Is it 2 sticks?
Yeah. You can do double or single. Yeah.
What's his name?
They're just doing Dan in Santa. Yeah, legend.
Proper legend, bro.
Yeah.
Look at that, man.
But then you got the armor and all that stuff.
Oh, so you wear?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise.
And you got and you just
That's sick.
And I remember my lungs were on fire. Wow. Like literally on fire.
Why do you think these martial arts are not as popular, man?
It's about interest. It's about marketing. It's about and I also think it's about we have a society now that just likes instant. And so don't take the time to learn. So it's even if you look at the shape of even MMA, whereas if you looked at like the champions, 10 years ago, they all came from a different martial arts background that trained in that one thing for such a long time then just moved over. And so it's kind of less and less now, where you got guys at the top end who, they studied one particular thing and they became really good at one particular thing, and then everything else, because it's your learning patterns. That's how, how you learn your first martial art is basically how you're going to learn any other martial art. How you learn, and then how you're going to learn things in life. It's just basically, you're just going to put dots to dots together, and you're going to those patterns already laid down. So, if like the other day, Amir was showing something about partay and stuff like that, and about, how to lift a person, how to get the back and stuff. And I was like, because it's interesting. And my first thing is just related it back to jiu-jitsu.
Of course, yeah.
It's like simple. I started jiu-jitsu, and it was jiu-jitsu from then on.
So you just gave up everything else? Not gave
not
up, but
really.
kind of tailed
everything else
off.
like petered out.
Right. Okay.
Slowly but surely.
Because you did MMA as well. I didn't realize you fought in a cage.
Yeah, I fought in 2009, 2010. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bro, you're unbeaten, fam.
I'm undefeated, brother.
Undefeated, my guy. Are you mad?
No, jiu-jitsu was good. I remember and again, one of the people that actually really kind of like, for me, really kind of like made a impact with regards to my martial arts was a good friend of mine called John Donnelly, an Irish guy. You know, he's like, come, let's do this, let's go train here, da 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 da. And around that time, you know, just like the late 90s was very funny. John found out about Mauricio. We used to travel to Birmingham. I say, whenever somebody says, oh, it's too far to come and train, I was used to, you know, me and John just jump on a train, go to Birmingham, you know, 2 hours on a Saturday, train with Mauricio, come back. Because trains weren't quick then. Still ain't quick, you know what I mean? But it's like...
So you train once a week?
Yeah, I think we trained once and twice. And then John had a conversation with Mauricio, brought Mauricio down to London.
Talk to me about your first jiu-jitsu class, man. Because obviously you've been training... What was it like? I can't remember
my first jiu-jitsu class.
You don't remember it?
Nah, I remember...
But do you remember, like... because obviously... You've done judo.
Yeah.
So you have some, it wasn't alien to you. So when it wasn't
it just wasn't alien to me at all.
Okay.
And plus because of, traditional jiu-jitsu as well.
Right.
So it wasn't really alien. So it was almost like a perfect marriage.
Okay.
You know, if anybody was to ask me like, you know, oh, I do traditional jiu-jitsu, what's the best thing to do? Just like go and do jiu-jitsu.
Right. Okay.
You know, because it's kind of like, it's the ground stuff from traditional jiu-jitsu is just very bad. But
what kind of ground stuff did they do?
Just same arm bars, triangles, sweeps.
Off the back as well? Was it
off
more?
the back, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly the same. But it's just like done in a very different way. I remember actually when I went to Brazil in 2001, and I remember actually it was me, John, and it was Carlinus was in Gracie Barra, and he was talking to us about it's very hard to get time with that man at that time. It was quite funny, but I do appreciate the conversation. And he's talking to us about how jiu-jitsu has changed.
Yeah.
And about how they used to do the armbar back in the day. And I just, for me, I went, boom, that was it. That was it. It was like a position that he did. He goes, we used to go like belly down kind of position, the foot behind the head. And I just went, that's exactly how I learned it in traditional jiu-jitsu. We go, no, we do it this way. And it was just like, oh, mate, boom. I was just like, the light bulbs just went off in my head. It was just like,
What was the light bulb? What was the light bulb?
Because things change over time and it improves. And then
traditional jiu-jitsu was stuck in
that time zone.
I see,
but BJJ just went...
And it's still changing as well.
It's still changing.
Kind of evolving.
And it's still changing. You know, for me, out of all martial arts I've ever done, it is the quickest evolving martial art ever. Like literally, just doesn't get stuck in.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that?
Because
that's. Was it because of MMA or was it because of the founders?
No,
and how
I think
their mentality?
you have a beautiful synergy in between a very a sport that has so much opportunities for technique. And it's so really cool at the same time and enjoyable to do. It's just a beautiful marriage. So you've got a sport that has everything like stand-up judo has, that has what wrestling has, that has every single thing that, you know what I mean, that every single thing that any submission grappling that you can ever you know, developed by mankind has. Put that with people that just are geeks and just love it. It's like, mate, it's you know.
Do you think the Brazilian culture, because it started in Brazil? I say started. It was evolved in Brazil. The culture had a lot of effect on it because it was very laid back.
The culture had a hell of a lot to do with it, and I think just the way, you know, the luta livre and the fighting and stuff like that, and the history, you know, with regards to the fighting and jiu-jitsu and how it was marketed and how Hoorian Gracie was just like just ahead of his time with regards to actually how to market a sport, a niche sport, and turn it into, you know, and just, you know, make people just believe it is what it is and just make it as a proving ground, you know what I mean? And absolutely just like not listen to the naysayers, but just totally just like pig-headedly just gone ahead and just done it and made it what it is. And then how everybody else has kind of benefited off it and how it made loads of different streams, you know?
Do you reckon we'll ever have jiu-jitsu in the Olympics?
Nah.
Why'd you say that?
Because Brazilian jiu-jitsu as it currently is, it's just too much of a new sport. You know, it's not. You can't market it to the masses. You can't. And everything.
How comes? Because judo and jiu-jitsu are kind of, I would say,
and it's too similar.
It's too similar.
And it's too similar. And you know,
sense.
Just, you know, politics wise, if I'm the head of judo, And, judo's getting stalemate and people are going, oh, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu are doing this. All I do is I just change the rules of judo to suit. And that's
because you had the ground fighting.
That's an instant blocker.
Yeah,
it's an instant blocker.
Yeah.
So I think what will happen to jiu-jitsu, I think now at the moment it's jiu-jitsu has been like feeding off all these other arts, and it's become its own art on its own. I think it's going to start to splinter off into different streams, and I think it's going to now to have effect on other martial arts a little bit more as it had on MMA, but I think just very slowly and surreptitiously, so you got guys that are specifically good at specific types of things, you know what I mean? Whether it be leg locks or whatever, and then you've got guys that, so certain rules will suit certain people, and the rule changes and the rules absolutely, they do, it's an obvious thing. It's almost as obvious as your Bruce Lee question, but it determines a lot of the outcomes of some of these matches.
Right, yeah.
If certain rules weren't in place, then some guys will be losing. Like
the point system and all
this
type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And time limits and all that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Because that determines how you approach
it, yeah.
If it's a 20-minute non-stop, kind of like, remember Metamoris, the way they were doing it?
Yeah.
That's a completely different, you train differently for that.
You train differently.
Yeah. And then you got your Eddie Bravo, which is EBI rules.
Yeah.
And then you train different for that. Then you got combat jiu-jitsu now.
With this hand slaps
getting
and stuff
pimp
like
slapped.
That. Yeah, I know.
I can't enjoy watching that, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's brutal though.
I don't know. I'm just like, well,
will it ever catch on? That's the thing.
No,
because you don't. Charlie Murphy said you don't slap a man.
You don't slap a man. Don't slap a man. But it's like my thing is like, why? Listen, I understand. Listen, if there's the market for people to do it, and people love doing it, fair enough, mate. I'm not going to judge you on anything. For me personally, I was like, might as well go fight MMA. Bro.
MMA, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I was like,
right.
stick on a pair of glasses, go and just fight. I don't want to slap. I don't want to be slapping people. It's like, no, I hate you.
It's like was it Pancreas that used to do the open?
Yeah.
That's like, what's his name? Baz
Rutten, but he'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's totally, it's very different. But hey, it is what it is. So no, with regards to MMA is I always train different stuff. And so always done,
You're already a black belt when you fought MMA.
Yeah,
right?
I got my black belt in 2005.
What advice would you give to white belts on how to get the most out of training? We're going to end on this one. And then we've got a couple of videos to show you. I want you to comment on them.
Advice to white belts?
Yeah, so for example...
Just turn up. No, but seriously, it is as simple as that. Just turn up. There is no, it's like saying to me, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if you're sitting in a car, how do you get down the road? Sit in the car. And then put your foot down. Eventually you get there. Yeah. But if you're not in the car in the first place, then what do you call it? What are you gonna do? You can't. Honestly, it's just turn up, because it's the one really cool thing, that driving thing that kept me, and I know it kept a lot of other people as well in jiu-jitsu and in the other martial arts that they did, is the fact of not being at class and missing shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, I can't believe, that feeling is so horrible. Yeah. It's like,
I think the kids call it FOMO.
Oh,
fear of missing out.
Yeah. But it's not like the fear of missing out. It's the fear of like you've not learned something that could have been so beneficial. So the biggest advice I give to a white belt is just turn up week in, week out. You know what I mean? Dude,
consistency.
Yeah. It's a process. It's a never-ending process. That if you can't turn up 2-3 times a week, turn up once a week. It doesn't matter. Just turn up. But don't miss like 3 months or stuff like that and think that you can come back and try to use strength on a guy that was your mate that has been training every single day for the last 3 months. Because eventually he's going to whoop you. Yeah. Eventually he's going to get his blue belt. You'll still be at white belt. Yeah. And then you get an even worse whooping. And then you become restaurant for your mate. You know what I mean? That's right. Because that's what happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you don't turn up. And then you're going to feel, oh man, I'm not improving, because you're comparing yourself to somebody that's been there all the time.
Yeah, but he started at the same time as you.
But he started at the same time as you, but
exactly.
he's been going and going and going and going and going, and you haven't. And then you go, oh man, I'm so shit. No, you're not. It's just that you haven't turned up or put in the same amount of effort. It really isn't rocket science, you know.
We get a lot of young people coming to the gym to train and stuff. Yeah. So, and I think one thing that I've noticed and is that there's this privileged kind of mentality. What I mean by this is, like you said, you used to go to Birmingham and train.
Yeah.
Right? You used to catch a train, 2 hours, you go to Birmingham. I remember when I was younger, again, we'd have to find clubs somehow. Someone would tell you about it. It's not as if there's I mean, you probably have to go to the Loot or Yellow Pages or whatever it is, right? And look it up. But I get, for example, can I have a discount, or I can't come every week. I can only come. And then, like, for me, it's and it's more and more now. And I think parents as well, we have this struggle with them, which is, it's not scouts. You know, it's martial arts. It's not like you're going to do scouts, right? Like you do it once a week. It's like a part, like recreational.
I'm going to talk to you about that. No. I know, but it's the fault of this country. So, for instance, it's like the way jiu-jitsu is structured and built. Yeah, it's like gym memberships. Okay?
Yes.
So this country has never seen martial arts as the same thing. This country has always viewed martial arts as a £3 in the church hall thing. Yes. And that mentality has not changed. Yeah. And it's actually the last however years since jiu-jitsu has come on board, it's been a huge re-education. Yeah. But, you know, and that's one of the massive positives of jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know, it's been a massive re-education. It's a gym membership. Yeah. You know, and it treats it as a gym membership. Yeah. However, martial arts in this country has always been viewed as hey, you know what I mean, £3, church hall, a couple of mats on the floor, pass the time, so my kids can do something. And it's continually thought of that way. But you've still got martial arts like taekwondo and stuff like that still being taught that way. That way, yep. Okay, so even like if you take into consideration like after school clubs, they're still being taught that way. So that mentality is being enforced all the time. So for instance, at my kids' school, they got taekwondo. It's an after school thing. So you pay £3 for it. It's like, why isn't he charging me for the year? Yeah. Why is he saying, listen, this is the membership thing. He can come after school, but then once a month we take him to the main gym, stuff like that. Why isn't it being taught that way? That's such a good idea, actually. You know? Yeah, that's it's continuously that gets reinforced, and it gets reinforced from a very early age, and it gets reinforced to the parents, and it gets reinforced to the kids. So then when you reach something like jiu-jitsu or whatever, it's like, oh, why am I paying for this when I used to pay taekwondo in school for £3 in a church hall? You know, so that has to change. Yeah. And that's an institutional thing that has to change. That's not like one martial art can change that. And also, it's about value. If you take it for a purely business kind of, if you just look at a business, for example, when you buy something, you need value from it, right? Yeah. That's the value dictates how much that thing is worth, right? Yeah. So a lot of the times, you're bringing your kid to jiu-jitsu or wrestling or whatever it is, but they don't actually understand the value of it. Do you see what I'm saying? So in their head, it's like, oh, they're passing an hour's time. But the value is your child is going to learn something that's going to help them for the rest of their life. Yeah. You can't put a price on that. No. Does that make sense? You really can't. No, absolutely. And especially if you're being taught by someone who has dedicated his entire life to this art, and and you know better than anyone, teaching is a very intimate thing, right? Yeah. Like there's a connect. You're always thinking about your student. You're kind of there's a lot. It's not like you might spend an hour with them, but as a professor, you're looking at curriculum. You're looking at the mental health for that person, what they can and can't do, and all this type of stuff, right? So it's a little nod because we're opening up soon, and we've had to change our philosophy with regards to taking on students. Yeah, because if you think about it, I'd rather have 40 students that are really dedicated to the art and want to learn. Yeah. It's not about money. Yeah. It's about what they're going to benefit from. Yeah. Then 150 that it's just a babysitting service and they're not really, they don't want to be there. Does that make sense? Their parents are just, so it's kind of like, how do you... So it's a conflict of your morals. Exactly. Okay, so it's 100% conflict of your morals. And the way I look at at morals is I see like martial arts as a way of actually building those moral kind of strengths in you as an individual. And I think that's really important. And just not to disrespect religion and stuff like that, but I see it as the same kind of building blocks. Okay. So it's, and so how your decisions are based on that, whether you take the 400 kids and leave 150, you're going to feel guilty that you haven't done what you need to do, and then 10 years down the line, X and something might happen and you're going to feel guilty of stuff. But you're supposed to feel that way. But you're also supposed to, as a community, there's supposed to be the net to help you to deal with that or to catch that. And it's
not about exclusion.
It's not about exclusion, it's an ongoing debate.
Understanding what you're getting yourself involved in. That makes sense. That's the thing. As a club, for example, for Legion, it's important now that we make people understand that you're joining somewhere where we want to make a difference in your child's life. Not every single person that's going to come, like 90% of the kids that come in are not going to be ADCC champions, right? They might. That's not the aim. For me, it's if they were shy, they've become more confident. If they were really aggressive, they've calmed down and they've learned to deal with their anger. Does that make sense? If they feel that they're not creative, they find their creativity in something else. Does that make sense? Everyone's gonna take something different from it. And that's for me, for parents, if you're gonna bring a child, understand that it's not, like you said, Taekwondo is a very good sport. But it's not a babysitting service. The guy's, trained his whole life to kind of, do you know what I'm saying?
But it's hard from a because this is a big debate. It's hard from a parent's perspective, okay? Because, it's we're in a state where, our parents ruled us with fear. All right. So our parents, sorry, mum, but you used to whip me with the belt. Just saying.
But to this day,
just saying. So no, but so you always used to have that fear. So you were driven back to a conversation about fear. Where you're driven by fear. We don't have those tools, or in our way, we cannot use those tools.
Right, I got you.
Yeah. So we now have to, use different methods or try to find different methods to get our kids to do stuff. And on top of that, we're fighting with, I did this, when I was working years and years ago, and we did this kind of research with regards to, what's Nike's biggest competitor. No, it's Adidas. No, it's not. It's It's PlayStation, it's music, it's decks, it's, you know what I mean? It's hoodies and hats, it's graffiti. Because if the kids aren't spending money on trainers, that's where they're spending their money. So it's the same thing as a parent that you've got to deal with as well. And if you are putting your kid into, it's much easier for you to take your kid and to jiu-jitsu while you're doing jiu-jitsu. It's harder to take your kid to jiu-jitsu and you not doing anything. It doesn't have any relation. And on top of that, you don't actually even understand jiu-jitsu, or you don't understand wrestling yourself, So as a parent, kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. So as a parent, you don't possess the tools of
100%.
If you don't go this, I'll whoop it. You don't have that. You don't have that. You don't have that now. So, for instance, it's like, I used to skateboard, and so I was very crap at it.
Every time you open your mouth, I learn something new about it.
So you know what I mean? Still crap at ollieing, but and so my little boy was like, skateboard. And I goes, I used to skateboard. And I thought, you know what? Let me buy a couple of skateboards. So I bought a couple of skateboards, in the garage, skateboarding and stuff like that. But it's cool, you know what I mean? It's like, and also I used to sketch, and I stopped sketching years and years ago. And it's like, I was doing his homework one day during the pandemic, and it's like, you got to do this and this. And I taught him how to trace, and then I bought him a light box and stuff. I taught him how to trace and stuff like that. And I went, damn, it's just a sponge. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get myself some watercolors, get myself a set of pencils, get him a set of pencils, and we're going to sketch together. So they do what I'm doing. And it's quite cool revisiting those skills, you know? And I think I said to you ages ago, it's like, I read to him every night I put him to bed. And like, you know, now we're just on some, you know, we're doing, the elephant in the garden. You know, I'm reading that book. It's an old book, you know what I mean? It's the guy that that wrote War Horse.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But, you know, and I realized, man, I'm flying through books. So he might not be the reader, but he's got that example in his head of his dad's the reader, or his mum's the reader, you know what I mean? Like, my missus reads in French books all the time and stuff like that, but it is, the way of parenting nowadays is such a struggle because you're consistently fighting those distractions. You know, his mate rings up, blah, 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 we're playing Fortnite. Like, it's got to be on the PlayStation, you know, but I can't go, oh, you're not going to do this. You know, I've got to give him that leeway, you know, but also kind of like make doubly the effort of like, you know, play football with him and read with him, skateboard with him, go, you know, cycle my bike when I can, but not while Imran's there because he'll smoke me. You know what I mean? But yeah, and do that stuff. And on top of that, as a man, also to have the time by yourself.
Yeah.
To just kind of clear your head, you know? So
100%.
It's you know, and so I think, yes, it's great. It's been great during the pandemic to have your kids there and stuff like that. But also it's kind of like, you know, people goes, oh, what, you know, I saw some stuff, you know, which I think is just ridiculous. It's like, oh, if you haven't learned something new during the pandemic, then you've wasted time and stuff like that. Man. You know, it's like, nah, not really. But the one true statement that I will adhere to is that if you haven't taught your kids something new during the pandemic, that's the one. That's the one, because by teaching them, you're kind of teaching yourself as well.
Also, do you think, Jude, as a father as well, this is very important, fatherhood.
Yeah.
In general, yeah. I feel like I don't want to stray into a very a controversial subject here. Yeah, it's not. I'm just trying to. Sometimes when you say something, people think that you're cancelling something else. So me talking about fatherhood is not me saying that women are not good mothers. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's like when you talk about something, people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying fatherhood.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Like, for example, because you train your kid, don't ask your kid to do something that, you know, you're not necessarily going to do yourself, or you never had intention, or you haven't done, or whatever it is.
Yeah, don't live for your kids.
Don't live for your kids.
Yeah,
like, and if they want to,
sorry to cut you off, but it's a very hard thing not to do.
100%.
And I wouldn't judge anybody who does it.
I'd say
you shouldn't do that, but I wouldn't, because it's a very hard thing not to do. It's a very easy to see your kid doing it wrong, and it's going, oh, you shouldn't do it that way, because if I was that, but it's very quick, and it's very subconscious to do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to let your kids make the mistake. You know,
that's part of the learning.
And stay in your head and cringe as they do it, and then see them work it out. Because it's funny, like okay, so here's another really good example. Doing homeschooling. Doing homeschooling. So, you know, and I realise that is really good at maths. Really good at maths. And so just doing the homeschooling stuff and and seeing how the way they work out, you know, they calculate stuff out and blah, 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 blah. And then seeing how the way he does his timetables and stuff like that. And then I remember we were just working on some sums and stuff like that. And I go to him, no, because use the piece of paper and blah, 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 do it this way and da, da, da. And he goes, no. And he got really upset. Really, really upset. And then I realised, I sat back and just like let him do it. And I realised he's working it all out his head. Like, but literally line for line. And it's like, oh, okay, that's how he's doing it. That's how he's doing it.
So the West Indian dad came out a little bit.
No, yeah. No, but it took me to go, okay, that's how he's doing it. And then it took me to go, okay, to basically adjust to his way of doing stuff. You know what I mean? Rather than actually him.
And also, he might even be open more afterwards. Does that make sense?
Totally
because he doesn't feel like you're trying to. Like, for example, I was listening to LBC once, and a woman called in and said that sometimes, like, they were talking about kids and stuff like that, and as a parent, she was saying that we see our children as what they should be, not what they are right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's
so
right,
they can. That's so profound
true.
because you're always measuring them with their future selves.
Yeah.
But like, he's here though.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you have to always try and dial that back. And try not to.
That is,
It made me one of those things that you made me like. I was sitting in the car, I was like, wow, like she put it so succinctly.
Yeah.
But Jude, I think we're gonna move on to the last segment.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
You're gonna
with
have to
you.
divide this up into 2-3 parts.
It's gonna have to be, or cut some stuff out. And this is called Around the Campfire. Yeah,
There's a 3-part, mate.
it's a 3-part. We need to do a 3-part.
That's right.
So we've got a couple of
Infinity
videos. I might even do a Patreon and just release the the behind the scene or whatever unseen footage. The lost tapes. So there's a couple of videos that we just have a bit of a light-hearted one. I want you to just watch it and I want you to react to it. We're gonna.
Oh, come on.
You ready? You might have seen some of these.
Yeah.
If you have, this is. You might have to put your
put my headphones on.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, you're a DJ, bro. Well, you was anyway.
Yeah, these are kind of whack.
They're whack. They were the cheapest ones. Right, so this is
not even noise cancelling. It's terrible.
So this is like a martial art.
Yeah,
that's been. You just watch it. Well, let's see. Let's see if you've seen this before or not. Where's the sound? We can't hear anything. There's no sound, bro. No.
I don't need sound. I can see.
You got to, but pause it for a sec. But you got to see the sound. There's bird camp. See, there's bird camp, bro.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, guy.
He's a G. He's a G.
You want to defend? As soon as you see me move, everything you got in there, you push it out.
Who's this guy?
I don't know. It's called Yellow Bamboo.
Sure.
So he's teaching them how to do a Hadouken, bro. Watch, yeah. Hadouken!
Oh, mate.
So he's trying to teach this woman, yeah.
You stand here, and Magnus and Rebecca, you prepare her.
I don't know how they're gonna prepare her. Super Saiyan. Turn it down a bit, Zach, please.
Oh.
Look.
Oh, mate.
You know he's faking, isn't it? You know he's like, smack.
Yeah, because he went straight.
Okay, you ready to join us in the circle?
Are you?
Join us in the circle.
That's it.
She's wearing what do you call it? She's wearing a I went to Thailand and stroked the sedated tiger.
That's it. That's the one. That's the one.
Trousers.
That's the. Can I ask you a question, bro? Yeah. How do you get to a point, where you're teaching someone? Firstly, I don't want to ask about how he got to that point where he learned this Yellow Bamboo martial art thing, Hadouken thing, yeah. But I want to know, like, as a student, and this is something that, how do you get to a point where you're not? This is what we talked about, like not questioning and not training other martial arts, right?
Yeah.
So how did it get to that point, man?
It's this.
And have you come across anyone like that, in your past?
So you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, mate, that there are more people like that on the planet than you think. No, literally. But it's not only in martial arts. It's just other aspects of life. Even in work. You know, where a boss would tell somebody, you got to do X, Y, and Z, and they won't question it. Sorry, man. And they won't question it. Yeah. So you find that even in the workplace, it's even during this whole pandemic thing was going on, whatever, people don't read, they don't do their research and stuff like that. So you find actually, that is not an extreme form. That is actually but trust me, that is the least dangerous form.
Yeah.
The most dangerous form is your
I
neighbor.
think that woman would beg to.
Is your neighbor who'd ring up the police
snitch.
because your cousin has come round during lockdown.
Did that happen to you?
No, insane.
Because it sounds very specific, bro.
No. Yeah, it happened to you. No, but honestly, because it's that not questioning thing. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of brainwashing thing. You know, it's like.
Did you come across anyone like that in your martial arts career?
Close.
Not kind of obviously like someone who's had that much hold over their students.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah. But it's not. You get it wrong though. It's not the person that has that much hold of the student. It's that how much that student
is willing to let go.
Yeah. That how much that person is willing to let go. You know, you find there's loads, even down to the cases of like, you know, sexual harassment in martial arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's not like, hey,
them
let's go
the
for
power,
a drink.
innit?
No. It's built up over time. You know what I mean? It's the same processes. It's the same things that carry on. That you got these deviants doing shit like that. You know what I mean? It's
But I'm
exact
gonna
same
say
thing.
to you, I can actually put my hand on my heart and say, someone said to you, like, I'm gonna teach you Hadouken, yeah. A man's running full blast at me.
Mate, it's getting the hardest sidekick combination. Honestly, it'd be like 50 mile an hour plus 50 mile an hour.
Okay, so how would you? So imagine the guy's running towards you like that. Yeah. What would your first move be?
I'll just step out the way and let him go past. Honestly,
Would you trip him?
His eyes are closed. Oh, I trip him. Mate. I trip him.
But anyway, Dennis Bergkamp let himself go, man. Poor guy, bro.
I leave Dennis for there, man. Dennis is a G.
Dennis, the best goal I've ever seen was the Newcastle goal he scored. Do you remember?
It's still the best goal.
It's got to be the best goal ever, man.
Got to be done.
Thanks, Jude. And hopefully we might get you on again. Probably never going to see you until next. But this pandemic has helped us get Jude on, and hopefully see you in the match soon.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Right, respect, bro. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you on the next one.